It's a big deal, isn't it? Naming like kids and businesses and stuff like that. It's Caesarean on the Thursday, and I think I went and did a haircut on the Tuesday. So I might just have to have takeouts again. Dinner, having his toast, getting his coffee.
Hey everyone, my name is Amanda Buckingham from WAI. So welcome to our WAI chat. WAI is all about sharing with influencers in our industry, cool hairdressers, anyone that wants to talk hair. And the moral of the story is to share and inspire others, educate ourselves, and just have a good catch up, especially at this time when we're all stuck at home. Well, most of us are stuck at home. It is my pleasure today to have the amazing Jaimee Smith with me. And it's actually amazing to see your face. Welcome.
Hi. How's it going? It's great to see your face too.
It's such a strange world. It's living in our bubbles and not being able to actually physically touch each other or give a hug or
Yeah, and we're huggy people.
Yes. Now let me tell you a little bit about Jaimee. I'm going to read this because it's a bit of a mouthful for me, and I want to give it some credit. So Jaimee is a national and international multi-award-winning stylist, previous owner of 20 years. Jaimee?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I don't even want to sort of count. I'm scared of counting because I'm like
20 plus.
Oh, crikey. Yeah, well.
Of the iconic Zaibatsu, previous owner. But what we're about to talk about today is her new venture. And Jaimee has entered into a new world and a beautiful new place in Wanaka, New Zealand. And she is a co-owner of UKIYO.
Yeah.
As I said, in Wanaka, New Zealand. And I'm pretty excited to talk about this venture because I haven't been able to get to Wanaka. We've all been in our regions, and it is a place I love to visit. And I've yet to catch up with Jaimee and see her beautiful salon, but I follow her and it looks beautiful. So can you please tell me all about it? How did you come up with your name? Number one.
Well, I think that, obviously Zaibatsu was a Japanese sort of origin, and it's a big deal, isn't it? Naming like kids and businesses and stuff like that. You want it to be authentic. And I think it's important, to have a name that has a meaning, and I'm drawn to words and how they look, and so Michaela and I, my business partner Michaela, we were just lounging on the couch one night, and we were flicking through like the net and all these sorts of things, and coming up with we sort of wrote down a lot of names that mean good things to us and what we want it to represent, and so then we would Google what they meant in different languages and stuff like that, and then we found UKIYO, and then it was like instantly like, oh my God, we have to, because it was floating world, a place to unwind and unleash the bothers of life and all that sort of stuff. So we were like, well, that's what it is, So I think UKIYO in general is a pleasurable thing. And we just instantly fell in love with it. It's short, it looks good. A lot of people kind of get a little bit confused on how to pronounce it, but you just don't try too hard.
Yeah. When you look at it, it is actually how it's said.
It is.
Like how it's written,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's probably less as a mouthful than Zaibatsu. Like that. Yeah. A lot of people used to come up with some real crackers for that. So there we go. We've got it.
Yeah, cool. Floating world. So that's actually quite fitting for you. So I'm going to put your website up because I want everybody to look at your beautiful space that you have, of your gallery there.
Yeah.
And it's literally the back of Wanaka. You've got beautiful Lake Wanaka. You head up the back street. Is it Hellowick Street? Is that
Hellowick Street? Yeah.
And then the salon is elevated second level.
It is, yeah.
And a brand new space called the precinct. The precinct. I was going to call it.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful building that's been built in the heart
Yeah.
And like the owners, the Normans, they're amazing. Like they're really creative. Mal, like her design aspects have been, the attention to details has been amazing. And so, yeah, it just all fell into place, and it's a massive space.
Yeah.
It's huge. We were kind of like, holy moly, how are we going to fill this? But it's actually really good. We've subleased in the middle of the salon. We've built some spa rooms, and so we've subleased that to some really amazing people. Like we've got a doctor in there who does Botox and everything like that, a beautician, and we've got another cosmetic tattooist going in. So it's really cool. It's just creating that vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's fun. Yeah. It's got to be fun.
Yeah, it's got to be fun. Almost like a hub, where you can just kind of come, hang out, shop, do whatever you want to do, have your treatments done. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to having some treatments done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Like just book me in for like 3 weeks.
But that, you know, this will have to be one of the most rewarding but challenging things you've done for a while. Like you packed your whole family out, you know.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. I know that because I've done that.
Yeah. It's definitely up there with the biggest thing I've ever done. It happened really fast. Like I don't think that it was ever in the long-term goal by any stretch. But for me, I feel like it just all happened how it was supposed to. And yeah, the opportunities, I've always been drawn to the mountains, basically. I love it. Like we're lucky enough to have a beautiful home in Twizel. And we hummed and hard about going there, but we just felt for us and the children, it was just a little bit too small for us at the moment. But just, it's massive. It was a massive move, and mentally it still is a massive undertaking, you know, that we, no denying we haven't settled yet, you know, so yeah. Crazy.
You're right. I reckon, you know, I've moved around a bit as well, and I reckon it takes a good year to kind of be able to say it's home. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But, you know, I'm sure your friends and family are pretty privileged to come and visit in Wanaka.
Oh, it's definitely not a bad place to visit, is it?
And
yeah, no, we feel pretty spoiled. It's a pretty amazing playground, and in the short time we've been there, I definitely feel more connected as a family than I ever have.
Yeah.
Because we're just, we're in summer, we're on the water every day, and we're, you know, like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think that connection time at the moment has been a blessing, because I know that you are busier than me sometimes, and we go, and we do homework, and we're trying to organise for the next day, fit clients and blah, blah, blah. But we've had to stop and probably reflect a little bit on how the hell do I run my life, and can I change this? Is there things I can be doing better, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think that's always going to be, you know, an underlying thing. I think women, we tend to just, our minds don't stop, you know, like, I always wind up my husband about like, so what have you thought about this morning? You know, getting up, having his toast, getting his coffee. I've been like, right, I've got to exercise, I've got to have my coffee, I've got to do the kids, I've got to do this, blah, blah, blah. Like I've done a full day's work before you even get out of bed.
Love it.
You know, it's just annoying.
Different mind.
Definitely coming back to the mail.
So, in a few weeks, you are now nominated for. Now, let me get this right. You'll probably need to correct me. So, in the short time that you've been open, you are now a finalist for the Global Front Cover Award. What is that, Jaimee?
Look, I didn't realise that this was sort of happening, and then I saw it posted, and I was like, oh, I've had a couple of covers over the years, you know, with Hair Shots the World, and I wonder if I'm in this, you know, like, so it was kind of just one of those things. And then I saw a post she put of like some magazine covers, and I was like, yeah, that's my magazine cover, yeah. And then as it turns out, the one I'm a finalist for wasn't that one. So I had actually forgotten to be honest, which one I had. So yeah, it was a real surprise, but yeah, definitely an honour. And that shot in particular, I love that model, and I remember shooting Trend Vision with her as well. And I actually flew her down from Auckland, and we actually shot right here in the church. And there was a really iconic shot actually, and the photographer and the stylist were begging me to put it in, and she was holding our cat, our Persian cat, and it was just like something that should have been on the front cover of Vogue or something. It was an amazing shot. And I was like, oh, I just don't think I can submit it with a cat, in the photo. Like I don't think I will, so I didn't. But anyway, I've still got that other photo. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm really honoured actually, and it's nice to see some archive work still alive and fresh, and yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful shot. I'm going to put that up as well. It's stunning. And you're right, to be able to, it probably allowed you to reflect on the work that you have done over the years, You probably forget sometimes.
You do, don't you? You just chuck it in a file on the desktop and away you go, and you actually do genuinely forget what you've done. And it's nice to have that come back and be rewarded for it. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a bit of a subject today that I'm pretty passionate about. I know Jaimee's very passionate about this as well. And we want to get a bit real. So we're going to talk about mental health today, and about our own personal kind of demons and our, struggles that we've had and how we've overcome that. I really feel at this point of time, because of what we're going through, you and I may be grateful that we understand our minds a little bit better now than what we used to years ago. But I do think that there will be a lot of our fellow friends out there who potentially are starting to go through some anxiety and don't know how to deal with that. So I really wanted to chat with you, because not only are you a fellow hairdresser of our industry, but you're a friend of mine. And excuse me, I've had a bit of a cough lately, so if I'm sorry. Jaimee, I came back to Dunedin from Christchurch a couple of years ago now, and we didn't have much. I had gone through a pretty hard time, and this lovely lady took me in. She not only took me into her salon, but she took me into one of her homes, and we have recently just moved out of that. But I have to say, it's the support that you get from people when you're not feeling right, or things aren't going right for you, that help you get through. So I am very grateful for the things you have done for me, and I'm sure you're grateful for people who have helped you out over the years as well. So
absolutely.
One of the things, Jaimee, I wanted to sort of ask you was, when did you start to feel that you were suffering from some sort of mental health, like whether it was anxiety or depression? How long ago would that have started?
I think I can pretty much bang on it in a nutshell. Like I certainly had times when God, where do you start? Like running a business solo, like you take all that on board. That in itself is a big deal. And I mean, you never stop learning in business. Like you make lots of mistakes, and yes, you learn from them, and you do get dealt some blows, whether it be bad people or just bad decisions, all these sorts of things. They will always have an impact. But personally, but probably a good 7 years ago, I probably hit rock bottom, in personal circumstances. But what it actually was just building. It was building up for so long. Like when my kids were born, like, oh God, I think I had a cesarean on the Thursday, and I think I went and did a haircut on the Tuesday.
Wow.
Like it was just, I didn't have, I'd never not worked in my business, and I had never experienced that off switch of like I didn't want to let people down, I basically put my work first over my family. And when my kids were little, I don't remember them as babies.
Yeah.
There's just so many iconic things that I don't remember. So yeah, definitely it all come to a head 6 or 7 years ago. And basically I had a full-blown nervous breakdown. And yeah, had a lot of counselling, and basically had a lot of shitty counselling. And then I finally did get a really amazing lady who basically said, you are a poster child for postnatal depression. And I was like, oh. So I had that. I had to start picking up pieces, basically. And prior to that, like, I was just work, and denial. And, you know, like, I was traveling around the world, hairdressing, like dumping my kids on my husband and just being like, right, I'm going, you know, like, God, I can't remember how old they were, but I went to India for like 2 weeks to work and stuff like that. It wasn't like a, hey, this is an opportunity that's come up. It was, I'm going to India, you have to have the kid, you know, like, it was work first, competitions first, business first. And it was detrimental. It was detrimental to so many things. So eventually I just, when it hit rock bottom, I mean, I didn't work for months. I made a decision to give up. You know, I was on some creative teams. I gave that up and just pulled back, you know, and I knew that by doing that, I would potentially lose clients. I would scale down on all my competition work. And I just, started the journey of trying to get better. Get better and reconnect with my family and all of those sorts of things. Yeah.
It's one of the hardest things is to actually, it's like taking your brain and putting it aside and looking at yourself, because often you don't know that what you're doing is impacting or it impacts other people.
Yeah.
Scott, my husband, will often, we've come to that mutual agreement where he'll look at me sometimes and he'll say, hey, you know, you're not thinking about others, you're just thinking about yourself. And that's not because I feel like I'm a selfish person. It's because of what you said. I'm work, you know, do this. And all of a sudden he'll just say, just stop, you know, just stop for a sec.
Yeah.
And I'll fight it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what the hell, you don't know. But actually, when you stop and think about it, you're like, yeah, actually, I do need to slow down and I do need to think about what's more important. But Jaimee, when that happened, was it your husband that necessarily said to you, like, who helped you to realize that you needed to stop? Because that's the biggest thing, isn't it? Is like being able to recognize that. Did you recognize yourself and reach out, or did you have a friend that said, hey, I want you to get some help?
Oh, it was definitely like a lot of family stepped in. Definitely family. Like, I've got an amazing family. Like, they stepped in and took the kids away for a while I got help. Husband, definitely working together. Because I was this quite a defensive person, and I think it was just a denial thing. And it's not like I wanted to be the best hairdresser in the world or any of that. For me, I've pinpointed it. I felt like I was failing as a mother. So I've ruled that out. I'm a shit mum. I might as well be a really awesome hairdresser because that's the only thing I'm good at. And that was my mindset, which is really crazy and quite scary. So once that, you know, you flip that over, you know, and you start getting the right help and keeping, you know, like, weeded out a lot of people in my life that were just drainers, I call them. You know, if you're not paying rent in a relationship, bugger off. So I got rid of a lot of them. And so really good friends, great support, amazing support in the salon. Like, you know, I think when you're just a bit more raw with your team and you ask them for help, then you become such a neutral ground. And I think I've just learned that to be real and to be open with them, because we're all in it together, you know. Like, I've always had a thing with the salon, there's no stars in our show. You know, no one is better off. So I don't care if you're a first year apprentice, you're just as important as my top senior, you know, like, everyone is equal and we're only human. And I will put my hand up and say, hey, today I'm suffering. You know, all these days where you go, I can't come in today, I can't get out of bed, like, I just can't shake it, you know, and they just pick up the pieces and it's I've had some pretty amazing people in my life like that.
and I've personally seen that from you, you know, not when you've been down, but I'm talking about transparency with staff and being able to share that I'm just, you know, this is going on. And I can sort of, if I relate this to now, is, you know, we're all so excited to get back to work and see our clients and run our businesses, but that's not going to fix our problems right now. You know, this is going to be something that is going to be a progression to come out of, you know, financially, everything, you know, so that anxiety and that stress can really be part of our lives now for quite some time as we recover. So I think you're right. A really good point to take from this is talk to one another, you know, talk to your family or your husband or partner, whoever it is, because often, as much as what they're the closest to us, we tend to push them away. You know, they're the first ones we bite at.
Oh, look, they just do. You know, they just get a raw deal.
But they're also the first ones to help us recognize something's wrong. And then you're correct, like being able to talk to your team together and just have a good old chat or a good old catch up. Doesn't even have to be about work, but it's just like, how are you? You know, anyone need any help? Who wants a cuddle?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, we're all human beings, you know. Totally. And I'm true to my star sign. I'm a Cancerian. I'm so sensitive anyway at the best of times. So I'm bloody a shambles.
And when you feel the way you do, for myself, for instance, this is funny. I had a thyroid, an overactive thyroid, which can often lead to feeling like you're anxious or depressed. It's a total balance.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel, but also when I get anxious, I feel the same way. So these two work in the same way. So my heart rate goes up and I feel like I can't breathe properly. I'm shallow breathing and I start to go introverted. So my friends and family, if they haven't heard from me for a while, they know something's wrong because I won't talk, you know, so I just go closed. But that's my trigger now. I used to be on medication for it. I'm not anymore, like for my thyroid. And my husband often will say to me, babe, do you need your medication again? Or are you like not feeling good?
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm like, rah, but no. So like for you, what do you feel?
Definitely anxiety. Like I get a lot of crowd anxiety.
Yes.
So like going to a concert or something for me is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I'll either bite all my fingernails off or I'll get so intoxicated within half an hour of being there and Ryan has to take me home. And that's pretty much happened a lot of the time. So yeah, that is, crowds I'm no good in crowds. I've got to dig deep to be in a crowd, you know, like I've got to, but exercise, definitely exercise. Like just the other day, like I was real titchy and just a bit like, oh God, you know, anxious, I suppose. I don't know what about it. We've come back to Dunedin we've got open homes on the house. And so that's a big stress having that. And Ryan was like, you need to go and go for a run. Yeah. And I'm like, I do. And he's like, no, you're actually going to go now, go. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So yeah, he knows that exercise is my thing, just to beat the streets.
Yeah, cool.
And yeah, it's definitely probably my savior. Yeah, and like for us, I mean, we're not big drinkers. Like we're probably binge drinkers. If there's an event, we'll drink, but we don't drink. Like we haven't had a drink for 6 weeks, like not a drop. And that's just felt so good. And we just had, and amongst a really crazy time, but having, as selfish as it sounds, but knowing the whole world is in this, I haven't felt guilty about having that time off. Whereas when you have holidays and everyone's still working around you, you kind of feel a bit guilty that you're away doing this. So knowing that everyone's in the same boat, like we've just had a month in Twizel and it was been beautiful. Just exercising every day and just family and I've actually loved it.
But I think
and thinking about a lot of families, like when do you ever get time together as a one. You know, like there's so many families that can't afford to take annual leave together, or can't afford to take annual leave, you know, where they've been forced into this. And yeah, I get it. It's really financially scary, but there's going to be so many benefits from it. There really is. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree. And like you say, I think part of recovery, or being able to manage the mind, because that's essentially what it's about. Like you say, finding your groove, right? If it's
Yeah.
exercise, or it's reading, or painting, or whatever that is that makes you feel good and gives you an escape is so good. And I think when, like you say, when you find your groove, then you can completely stop more. You know, you're not going to feel the guilt. You're not, because you're much more grounded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
that sounds really easy. It's not, you know, even like you say, even to go for a run, like if you've never run before, like that's going to hurt. You know,
Yeah.
going to the gym's going to hurt, whatever it might be.
Yeah, you know, and I envy a lot of people that meditate and do all that sort of stuff. Like, I haven't been able to do it because I'm just such an active mind person.
Yeah.
I almost need that aggressive output, you know, whereas, yeah, that whole meditating thing, God, I wouldn't know, like, what to do or how to do it.
We'd have to tie you down.
I know, you would. Like, seriously, I think, like, God knows what goes through my mind in like 1 minute. It's crazy.
Hey, you mentioned earlier that you got some professional help. So I'd love to talk about what kind of professional help you think was beneficial for you. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, who is that person? Like, I often think about it. I haven't had, I've been to counsellors, but I've never been to a psychologist or you know, higher than that. And I'm not really sure the difference, or, you know, have you had experience with that and found
Yeah.
some sort of therapy that's helped?
Yeah, definitely. So I ended up meeting a fabulous lady. She was a psychologist. So she sort of helped me and my husband. She educated us on postnatal depression, because I think that's we definitely ascertained where my low really kicked off.
Yeah.
And it was just so important for Ryan to understand what that looked like.
Yeah.
Great reading material in a basic form, in a nutshell of what it is, me to learn, and just to actually have someone say, yeah, my God, we're lucky to have you, you know, like, you're like, holy shit, someone actually, you know, I think that once that burden of how you're feeling, that dark horse,
Yeah.
it's just such a relief, you know, like to be able to share their load. And from that period of being really, really low, like I was forced to talk because I was in such a heap. It's actually allowed me to move on and be a lot more open about who I am.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like you don't know what people are dealing with. You don't know, you know, and I know over the period of years, people have had the odd person say, oh, you're quite arrogant. When they've got to know me, they're like, oh, I thought you were quite arrogant. And I'm like, oh my God, like I genuinely would give you the shirt off my back, sort of, you know, like I feel like I am a kind person, but I can understand how arrogance can be perceived as shyness or anxious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I get really nervous about that now because I'm like, oh my God, they're going to think I'm arrogant. You know, like I get quite conscious about what people think of me. Not that I care what people think of me,
Yes.
but just personality wise, I would hate for people to think that I'm a wanker.
Yeah, totally. And you're not. But also too, the stigma sometimes is, I get this, and I actually crack up at myself because, Jaimee, you know, I haven't come from a lot, and people will often, they don't realise, right? So that, especially with paper not foil, they'll say, where's your warehouse? And at the time it was at Jamie's house. Where's, you know, you're so lucky, you're so successful, you're this and you're this, and you're like, I'm not. Well, at the time you think, I'm not, you know, I'm just normal. And that's the thing, is we're all human and we all feel this very similar strains. Just because we look a certain way or we have a certain house that looks like this doesn't mean that we feel any different to anybody else, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, you're right. We're the same. Like, I came from a very normal, wonderful upbringing, but there wasn't a lot of money, and so you got to work for it, girl, because it's not going to get handed to you. So there is a lot more weight on your shoulders when you've got to make it work. You've got to make it work. And it's really interesting you say that, because I had, like, Ryan and I were catching him. We were just like, shit, we've got to catch up with Amanda and Scotty. We've just got to make it happen. He's like, yeah, geez, I love talking to that guy. Like, I love his passion for what he does. And he's like, they're pretty inspirational people, eh? And I was like, yeah. And even when you guys had your business in Attribution and stuff like that, pretty much our biggest competition, but never felt like that, like it was always, you've always been so forthcoming with information and caring and sharing, and that stays with you. That's always been something I've always thought so highly of you guys for being such good people, in that respect. Yeah.
Same to you, lovely. And that's where I'm at the moment. I've really loved this time to connect with people like yourself, whether we're friends, whether they are just someone who I look up to in the industry, but to actually pull and extract knowledge from them and power to hand on. I'm so into that right now. I just think it's one of the best things that we can do is share.
And let's face it, no one's bloody perfect, and I'm far from it. I've made many mistakes, and I'll make more. I hope I do. Bloody oath, I hope I do. I want to be able to make those mistakes so I can teach my kids,
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to in order to recheck, and, no one's perfect. And mental health, it's a big thing. Like it is something I'm so passionate about, because until you've been in that dark place, it's freaking terrifying, man. It's probably been the hardest thing that I've had to deal with in my life, and continue with deal. It doesn't just go away, like you have. A couple of years ago, I had an operation, and I had my gallbladder out, of all bloody things, and it really impacted on my gut health, and that, to be fair, sent me backwards a long way, mentally, like just, the whole gut and the brain thing. I'm such a believer that there's a connection there. And I've really struggled again. So the last couple of years, like, I've really had to dig deep again. So yeah, it's definitely been tough. And I think that's probably when, like I said to Ryan, I said, things have to change. Like, we've got to change our life. I'm just not happy. Like, I've got to get better, and this is stress. Yeah, that's stressing me out. Let's just simplify things, well, kind of simplify things by selling up and shifting your whole family to another town that you've never really spent a lot of time in. But, like, it was time to make changes.
Yeah. And right, acting, like, not as in acting, but acting on what is right for you and your family. And that's really encouraging. I think, in the last few weeks that we've got left is to really feel power to make those changes, and take some time to think about what you want, not what other people want. That's a big pressure on all of us, is like we've talked about, this perception. But actually, I've had this conversation with quite a few friends over the last 6 weeks, is what do you guys want, not what everyone else wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's just checking in.
Yeah.
Your close friends, keep your circle tight.
Yeah. That's right. What's a piece of advice, or what's something you want to share with our industry at this particular time today, and coming out of lockdown and going back to our businesses, like positive thoughts that you've seen, or something that's kind of made you get out of bed a bit faster, or
I think to be honest, I've loved having the time to watch a lot of online stuff. It's catch-22, because I'm not, when I say I'm not big on social media, I'm like useless at social media. Like, I wouldn't know how to do half the shit. Michaela's like, you just leave Instagram to me. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, online, like, just, Mana Dave, like, seriously, that guy, just want to squeeze him. Michael doing, like, even like his classic sort of stuff. I've even just felt like I've just touched up my skills on just good basic sort of knowledge that you just don't sort of get around to doing. So personally myself, I've been doing a lot of that, and yeah, just enjoying watching everyone's like funny videos they've been doing and stuff like that. It's been really cool, and I think, you know, seeing the hairdressing community come together is just, it's been pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And keeping in touch with people, you know.
Yeah.
Strangely, like with us only opening, we're only been open 4 weeks. We've had amazing support from our landlord. They haven't charged us rent until we can trade again, which is unreal.
Amazing.
Going into a new business, our overheads are actually, believe it or not, really low.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, I feel like the more years you get into business, the more, I don't know, you hock up or you do whatever, and you end up, you know, like we're not into that tax situation yet and all of those sorts of things. So financially, it hasn't actually been that rough on us.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. Like, we'll be actually okay.
Yeah.
And it's exciting when we go back. It's mental crazy. So I'm pretty pumped on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
it's just keeping connected, isn't it? You know? Yeah.
Yeah. And like you say, you know, not that we want to spend all of our time on the internet. You know, it's lovely to be able to connect with people like in flesh, but I think we've got New Zealand, well, our industry, our New Zealand hairdressing industry has been awesome at connecting, you know, while this is all
Yeah.
been happening. And there are so many cool resources on there to share and inspire yourself. And I guess I have taken myself away a little bit of listening to too much COVID.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
I listen to the facts that I need to make a choice, and that is generally around business. You know, what are our requirements at level 2? How do we set ourselves up hygienically? Blah blah blah. But all the other noise that comes from COVID
Yeah.
can really stuff up here. You know, you start to
Yeah.
overthink it, or you worry too much, or whatever it might be, and it's not good. You know, so take what
Oh,
you need.
it is really scary. Like, you're hearing things and you're like, oh, in the middle of selling property and everything like that, and a few
Yeah,
other things. You're like, holy shit. But then you just got to go, you know what will be, you know. And like, to be fair, having Michaela in the business as well, like, as my business partner, far out. It's that, you know, that first time in so long where you've gone far out. You know, like, you've actually got someone that has just as much vested interest as you to
yeah,
bounce off, you know, and
that's right.
for someone to say it's going to be okay, we've
Yeah.
got this, you know. And she's good at that, so it's lovely having her to bounce off. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
cool.
great. Yeah.
Um, and I've noticed that too, with having a business partner now as well. It's really nice just to pass those conversations or double check something, or you know,
Yeah.
whatever it might be. And actually, since I've started to talk to people on why, we've had quite a lot of hairdressers come to us and say, "Oh, could you help me? You know, you talked about this. Could you share that with me?" So, you know, I feel really grateful that we are doing the right thing for our industry and sharing and passing on the right people to get in touch with if they want to as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think too, like, when you asked me to talk about mental health, I was like, oh shit, I'm putting myself out there. And then I was like, nah, when do you even really get the opportunity to be real, you know, and give people an insight to just how normal, well, probably a little bit abnormal that you are, you know. Like, it's if you help one person from this, then your job's done, you know. Like, you've won, because you've
Ah,
put yourself out there. And I'm sure a lot of people out there think that I've ride through life with no worries and stuff like that, but it's certainly the opposite. So
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been interesting, but yeah.
Like, you are inspiring. I have a fridge magnet actually, and it's been on my fridge for about, I don't know, 8 years. And it says, everything will be okay. If it's not okay, everything will, God, now I can't even remember it, and it's 8 years. Everything will be okay. If it's not okay, everything will be right in the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and for me, that reminds me, think about things, but it's going to be okay. And sometimes the okay that it is now will change. You know, that problem will get a solution, and that solution will make it all better. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting. It's nice to just step back and look at the stress in our lives or the problems we face and tackle it with a solution, not a problem.
And I think sometimes you just need to recheck, and you need to go, shit, like if you have a really good think about the world, like we are so lucky in New Zealand. Look at what the government have done for us and the support. Just, like even to have a roof over our bloody head, for God's sake, like we're so lucky to have what we have. We've just got to be mindful and grateful for the small things. And that's, like moving to Wanaka, like bringing my kids up, I want them to be, a lot of people said to me when we shifted, oh my God, what about schooling? They won't be able to go to Columba or St Hilda's or all these schools. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, like how my impact on my kids will be who they are, and they're going to be who they're going to be,
And look at their backyard.
In the backyard, I want them to be with nature and outdoor and sporty and all that sort of stuff, And I think you just got to have an open mind. If they excel in an area that the school can't provide, then you assess it when they get to that age, I just, for me, it's just about having, a beautiful a lifestyle, really. It's lifestyle. Yeah.
It is purely lifestyle. And do you know, I've been doing a course actually that I'll put up after when I put our interview up, and it teaches you about genetics, like how you are made up. So you'll love this. I won't go into it too much, but I got asked a question. So how much do you think our genetics impact our mental health? Okay. And I was like, oh, well, everyone, do you remember the old saying, you are what you're big boned, that's who you are.
I know, that old chestnut. Yeah, I still use that.
So of course I thought, genetically, sure, it's got to be a huge part of who we are and how we do things, right? My mum, my dad, whatever. It's not. It's like,
isn't it?
No, it is something like 10%, and my coach will actually probably fire me for not having the right percentage, but it's really low. The biggest part that impacts our bodies and our mind is our lifestyle.
Right. Yeah.
That's massive. That's the choices we make. That's eating McDonald's 5 times a week. That's like, choices that we make over and above genetics. It's really interesting. But I'll share that because I think it would be a great course for a lot of us to do, especially in our industry. We're always trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and don't you think though, like you look at your as hairdressers, I can go like 4 or 5 hours without eating or drinking a drop of water. Like if you're back to back in that salon, and you just you're adrenal, like you are fight or flight the whole time. Like it's full on, and we're constantly pleasing. And I think people underestimate like our jobs, like as far as hairdressers, like the weight that we carry on our shoulders to get it right. Like people just don't understand it. It's such a massive industry, and now that people are, like the minute that you went into lockdown, all the stuff online about like cutting my own hair and all this sort of stuff, you're like, well, maybe now's a good time to start really appreciating us. Like,
that's right.
We talk amongst salons about putting our prices up and all that, and how we always have that fear of putting our haircut prices up, but holy moly, like we are worth our weight in gold. We act as so many things for that 45 minutes or an hour appointment that they're there for their cuts. We deserve every penny of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And have that faith in yourself that you are really good. We are really good at what we do, and I think if you can believe that and love yourself and that you are very good at what you do, then that will flow into your clientele and they'll want to see you. They won't want to cut their hair themselves. They'll want to come and see you.
Yeah. And I think too, really interesting in that time period where I wasn't very well, like I was like, oh God, yeah, I don't know, like all the negative things I thought would happen in my life, career, this business. Funnily enough, my business grew,
Yeah.
turnover wise. Like even in the last year when I sold my business, the year leading up to that was the least amount I'd ever worked in it, and it was the highest turnover I'd ever done and profit. Like it just everything just, and I continued to win awards. Like everything actually just got better and better the more I let go, in a sense that I put less pressure on myself. So it was almost like, I'll do a photo shoot and whatever happens to it, whatever. Like it wasn't, yeah, I just, once I stepped back from a lot of things, everything just seemed to be better, which was really interesting. Yeah.
And that's huge respect for, again, your mind, because you probably became more peaceful.
Yeah, well, a lot less stressful, and I think once I, really sat down and worked out, well, what is important? Well, having a successful business is important because that's your staff's livelihoods, it's your livelihood. But what makes your business is your clients as well. So the less work I did outside the business, doing all the bloody competitions that got thrown at you, it allowed me to put more energy into my family and into my staff and into my business and my clients. And I think it made it better in general. Yeah. Because I want to be famous to my clients. I want them to know that I love what I do and I continue to be the best I can. No disrespect to the hair industry, but when you work so hard and you're doing all these competitions, you're only really getting famous in the hair industry. And I don't need to be famous in the hair industry. I need my kids to be proud of me, and I want my clients that pay to come and see me to be proud of me, and inspirational for my team. And if I've done that, then job done. Yeah.
That's the best quote I've heard for a very long time. I want to be famous for my clients. That's gold, mate. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love
and
it.
that's delivering good service, a beautiful environment. And to be fair, like I'm not a big, I'm definitely a person that likes to sit back, and watch from the background and just potter away. I don't enjoy being in the forefront.
Yes.
I've tried to be that person where I've done, tried to be the public speaker and all that. It's not my cup of tea. Accept it, move on, I just like to potter away at my own thing in the background. And so with my clients, I would never actually talk about my awards or anything like that.
Yeah. Humble.
Just because to me, doing my hairdressing awards and stuff like that that's a personal pleasure. Like that's actually, as much as it's work related, I love it.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love doing that sort of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I have enjoyed this chat. I think we have really, hopefully been able to inspire our watchers and our industry that it's okay, and lots of people go through things, and there's such a positive outcome to mental health as well. I really do believe that. I think that the intuition that comes from ourselves and growth that we get from it, I would not change anything. At the time that it happens, it's the worst thing ever. But it's made me who I am today. I totally believe that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And you're right. It's a catch-22. You wouldn't wish it upon anyone. And reflecting back on that time is, Jesus, it still breaks my heart. But you're right. It actually made so many things better, like communication. Learning the tools on how to communicate with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Just all those tools. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now I know
I see you all have wine and stuff.
I know. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And I know you're back in your stomping ground.
I know.
What are you having for tea?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I have cooked consecutively for the last 5 weeks, every night, which I don't even know if I've ever done that in my life. So I'm kind of overcooking, but I kind of have to because I don't want to go out. Well, you can't go out.
Yeah.
But then I might, now that we're in Dunedin, a few of our friends have got businesses that are in the food. So you want to support them, so I might just have to have takeouts again.
I thought, wonder who she's going to choose to go and have tea.
I had salt bar last night. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Burgers and chicken, and yeah, it was really good. So pretty tempted to go back again tonight, but we'll see. Yeah,
good. Enjoy. It's lovely to meet you, and
thank you.
see you soon.
Yeah, big loves.
Bye.
Bye.